Hey everybody, I'm Louise from Wildflower Wool and welcome back to my channel. This is where I would normally say happy Monday knitters, but if I'm being completely honest with you, life just got in the way at the beginning of this week, and it is actually Wednesday. I had my new yarn already. I knew what I was going to cast on, and stuff happened and it didn't happen. So anyways, better late than never, only a couple of days late. And we're going to carry on. So I hope everybody has been having a fantastic week. I hope everybody had a great Monday. I hope the beginning of your week or the midway of your week, whatever it is to you right now, whenever you're seeing this, I hope it is going fantastic. I have some things to show you. And I'm really, really excited about the new project this week. Where will I start? We always start with the finished dishcloth from last week. And I have a dishcloth and a half. Let me find you the finished one. I did double seed stitch. That's what my new start dishcloth was last week, and here it is. Had it folded in my project bag. I feel like this urge to like pull. I should have maybe not folded it, but anyways. Here it is. Look at that. I love it. I'm really, really, really super happy with this. I had a couple other people say that they do this stitch as well. And it's one of those stitches that, see, I can show you both sides. That it looks trickier than it is. It gives you a really nice texture, a really nice pattern, and it's easy. It totally fits my criteria. You can read your stitches. You know exactly what row you're on. You could do it at knit night. And it's relatively quick. Probably a couple of nights knitting, sit down for a couple hours each night and you can have it done. I believe with this one, okay, let me give you all the details. This was Bernat Handicrafter and the colorway is Tangerine. I cast on 44 stitches for this. I did an even number and I just worked across knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, turned it around, read my stitches all the way back. So I knitted my 2 knits, I purled my 2 purls. When I got back to the beginning of the row again and turned it around, on row 3, I switched. And if I did one, no, I did not. This one has no edging stitches. So on that row 3, I did the opposite. If there were 2 knits sitting there facing me, I started with 2 purls and went across all row 3 doing the opposite of what I saw, turned it around, and then I worked back exactly what I saw. Knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, or purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, however it started, and I just kept going. With this one, there was no extra stitches. I just literally cast on my 44 and started knit 2, purl 2. So when I needed to change my pattern row, my yarn tail was on the left side. So when I turned it around, I had the tail right there at the beginning of the row. So I just used that as my marker basically. So I knew whenever that tail was hanging here, I needed to switch my stitches around. But then, like I've decided with most of my other patterns lately, I was like, I don't know, I don't mind the edge. I'll get the other corner out of the way. It looks pretty good that way, doesn't it? That's with no edges. So some rows I started with 2 knits, some rows I started with 2 purls. But I don't know, starting my very first stitch with a purl just kind of, seemed odd for some reason. So I started another one. And I didn't get this one finished, but this one I went back and I put, I did 1 row of knit. I cast on and I did a row of knitting and I added 1 knit stitch on either edge. The only thing that did do for me this time was my cast on tail was at the opposite end. So when I needed to switch my stitches, instead of having the tail be right at the beginning, right where that first stitch was, it was at the opposite end. So I had to just switch my mindset. I had to remember that every time I looked at that first stitch, and there was no tail there. This time the no tail meant I had to switch my stitches, which just, it gave me a pause every time I had to stop and think, tail or no tail, which one am I doing? So what I ended up doing, so see here, this is how I would have turned it around. No tail. I just put a little stitch marker on here so that I didn't have to think so much, right? Anyways, and that seems to work. So this one here, I have got one knit stitch on the side and I have a row of knitting on the bottom. And I think it just gives it, you know, just a little more finished edge. So this one, unfortunately, I did have to switch balls partway through. And you can, I think you can tell right about there, you can see I've got different dye lots. So this is a good reminder to everybody, when you're buying yarn, make sure you buy enough for your project, because it can be the same color, but the shade is just, can be a tiny little bit off. And I knew, because I went to Michael's and I picked up another ball, because one ball, so this is my new ball, I had a ball in my stash, which I knit this cloth with, and I got about half of that other one. So it knitted a dishcloth and a half, because this is fairly big, and I decided that this is a little bit wider than I actually like it, and I didn't do it totally square. Kind of a cheater way to know if you're square is if you pull this up and you want this edge to come right over to here. So I was just a little short of square, but I just cast it off because I wanted to try to get another dishcloth out of this ball, which didn't happen. So I had to go and purchase another ball. I knew the dye lots would be off, but yeah, it's just a dishcloth, right? Not something to stress too much about. I cast on fewer stitches, maybe about 4 stitches less, and I like the width of this. I was going for about 7.5 inches wide. This one here I think was 8.5, and if it just felt a little too big. So anyways, that was that. Amazing what you can learn with dishcloth knitting, right? But I love the pattern. It's fun, easy, and I like this one here is totally reversible, which is a little extra benefit. I think it would make a nice scarf. There again, all these patterns that I'm doing, I'm just making them into dishcloths, but you know, like I said before, they can be anything, right? Scarves, afghans, whatever you want them to be, they can be. So I'm going to finish this off. So I got 1.5 done. And then of course I started a new one for this week. And I have everything all tangled here. I have my new start for this week in this bag, because my pretty bird bag has just become my dedicated dishcloth knitting bag. And it's nice when I know what's in this bag, because if I'm going out of the house, which I'm not doing too much this week because I am on vacation, so it's pretty much just knitting at home, knitting outside. The weather has been great. I totally lucked out taking this week off. It's been gorgeous. Today was really super nice. I'm not even wearing a sweater. It is so nice outside. I'll put a couple pictures at the end. I was able to meet up with my son, and we did lunch outside and went for a little walk on one of the local trails. So it was a great way to spend the first part of the afternoon. And now I'm back home chatting to you guys, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the day knitting. What else did I knit last week? My Caron Cakes cupcake hat. One hat is done, and it's nice. It fits great. I didn't really do anything super fancy. I kind of just followed along with my super simple hat pattern. The only thing I did different, and I think I'm going to update the pattern to reflect this, is that I used a smaller needle for the ribbing, just so it's going to snug in closer around your ears. I did a little different cast on. I alternated just a regular long tail with a twisted long tail, just to give it just a tiny little bit of a different look, which I really like that with the ribbing. Then it was just a couple of inches of knitting, increased 6 stitches, maybe 4 stitches. Can't even remember now. I increased a few, and 4 stitches. I think it was just 4. And then just knit round and round and round. It's just this tiny smidge of a slouchy hat, which I really kind of like. And did a star decrease on the top. I even have all my ends woven. It's cute. I like it. I may even keep this. This was the ball. Oh, maybe I can show. I don't know how many pictures Eric wants me showing you guys, but did I tell you before that there's always a standing joke with Eric for, I don't know how many, a lot of years, over 10 years. I have always given him a ball of yarn for his birthday. I think I told this story in one of the last videos, didn't I? And of course, it's a big joke because he just laughs and usually tosses it right back at me, right? So this year, of course, was no exception. I bought this ball of yarn on the day of his birthday because I popped into the dollar store just to pick up some items for his little outdoor birthday party get together. And I saw this at the dollar store. So I picked it up. I quickly wrapped it up, put it in a gift bag, and he just laughed, right? So I thought, my thought was, well, I'm going to knit it up and give it back to him. So I don't know. He does like red and he does like blue. So maybe I will give this to him. We'll see. Maybe I'll see if he wants it. If not, I might keep it because I would definitely wear it. And the best part, so it had, I don't even know what I did with it, but remember sorry, I keep looking down. Daisy is here and I'm so afraid she's going to jump up on me. And the last few times she's jumped up on me, she has dug in her claws. So I am just like really nervous. I don't want that to happen again. So I'm petting her and talking and looking down all at the same time. Anyways, pom-pom. There was that fake fur pom-pom that came with the cute little cupcake. I've set it aside because it was a light blue. I don't know. It looked more like a kid's color pom-pom to me, I guess. I don't know. It definitely doesn't look like a real manly color that Eric would like, and it's not my color at all. So I have enough yarn left over that I am going to make a real pom-pom. I guess the other fake fur ones are real pom-poms, but I'm going to make a yarn pom-pom with some of this leftover yarn. But I didn't want to make it. Maybe I'll give that update next week. But there's still quite a bit of yarn left, which is a great deal. For the whole ball was $4. And it's an even better deal if you like the pom-pom and you're going to use it. But a $4 hat, I'm super happy with that. This yarn was really nice to knit with. What size needle? So it was the Caron Cakes yarn, which I think is now discontinued. Which makes me even feel even more excited that I was able to get it. I think I used a 5.5, a 4.5 for the ribbing, 5.5 for the body of the hat. And it knit really nice. It didn't split. It felt nice. It feels nice. It feels heavy. It was a win. I like it. So this will get a pom-pom put on it later on this week. So this week, I started a new dishcloth. And if you saw my post on Instagram, this was one of my yarns that I picked out Monday. I did do a little yarn shopping at Lens Mills to pick up some new cotton. I can't I can't keep it a secret. I know I'm sorting, and if you can tell behind me, I have got a lot of sorting done. Now, I know I'm getting off topic here, but I know I didn't film myself doing this because I had to keep literally running from one side of the room to the other, and I didn't have a spot to set up the camera because the other parts of the room are filled with totes of yarn. So I'll do here she is. I'll do a video and I'll give you like a tour of what else is behind me, but I have to say I am loving the look of this wall. And I'm getting rid of a lot of yarn. So I don't know, somehow that gave me the green light to go to Lens Mills. And I have to say Lens Mills had so much more dishcloth cotton, way better selection than Michael's had. Lens Mills isn't a place that I typically frequent, and I don't know when the last time was that I was there. Anyways, I do have some projects in mind, and I have a fairly big dishcloth project coming up, and I wanted to get some specific colors, not just be able to use some odds and ends out of my stash. I wanted to get some colors that coordinated and matched. So it was kind of nice. And while I was there, you know, all hand sanitized and wearing a mask, I did get out. I got enough cotton that should do me right through till Christmas. So that made me happy. This is the new Start yarn, Bernat Handicrafter again. And what is this color? Rick Rack Ombre. And I just really loved these colors because it just seemed so fallish with the greens, and it looks like there's chocolate brown and the goldy colored yellow in there. I really like it. I don't think I've ever had this color before. Maybe this is one of their newer ones. Anyways, I got it. I cast on, and I can't remember the name of this stitch, but I know I wrote it down. And on this one, I just decided that I was just going to start right off and put an edge stitch on the edge. Oh, knotted rib. Knotted rib. And you'll see why, because it does look like it has a knot in it. Now, I had to play around, and I think I'm going to restart this because I think, again, it looks too wide. So I'm going to take some stitches off, and that is the wrong side. The right side of this pattern is like a reversed stockinette. And then can you see? I know I don't have a whole lot done, but there's texture there. You can feel there's like a ridge there. So that's the knot. So it's a fun pattern. I'm hoping that this one will become intuitive and it will kind of fit into my criteria. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not sure if it will right off the bat, but there is only 4 rows. No, actually there's only 2 rows in this one. Yeah, there's only 2 rows, so I think it should. And nothing fancy. I tried the ridge knot stitch. That's why I'm getting confused. I tried the ridge knot stitch, but it looks like a really, really fun pattern, but it had purl 3-togethers. And even though I went up a needle size, it's still doing purl 3-togethers in dishcloth cotton without the cotton not having all that kind of stretch. It was really tight. So I moved on from that because I think it would have killed my wrist to keep going in cotton. I think it would be a nice stitch for like an Afghan if you're doing squares, or I don't know. So I've got the pattern in my trusty little book, so it may show up in something else, but I just thought, no, I didn't want to keep going with it with dishcloth cotton, so that's why I switched to this other one. Only two pattern rows, so I'm going to switch it and just cast on less stitches because this looks like look at that. It looks miles too wide, doesn't it? But I like the color of the cotton, so that's a win. So we'll just call that, little trial run. I will figure out how many stitches I want to cast on, and I will cast on again. So stay tuned for that one. You'll see some pictures of it in progress over on Instagram, along with the pom-pom on the hat. Now for the really super exciting project is a new sweater. Since I still have the last half of my week's vacation, I thought it was a good time to pull out one of these balls. So I know I had told you that I had bought another ball of this. Well, did I tell you I actually ended up buying 2 because they're pretty much sold out. The Caron Cakes Anniversary Cake. Again, another super huge ball. 1,000 grams, 35.3 ounces. This is a massive ball. I've already knit one sweater out of this, and I didn't use the whole ball. This sweater, I'm going to switch up a little bit. I'm going to do a cardigan, and I'm going to do raglan sleeves. The first sweater I knit out of this, I did just a drop shoulder and a pullover. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So I'm all set. Now, and I'll show you. I've just barely started I took a few minutes before I came up here to record this just so I could cast on, and I've knit, I don't know, the first, oh there. I've knit that many stitches on row number 1, just so I could officially say it has started. I used my measurements that I did from the other sweater because I was just, what, a couple weeks ago that I knit that sweater. This one I did a little different. I'm using the same needle size I used for that one, my same gauge. Not sure if I have cat hair or if it is fuzz from the ball of yarn. Anyways, Daisy's now on the floor and she is lying in a pile of alpaca, I do think. Which makes total sense, right? I mean, if you have, you know, your choice of something, why not pick alpaca? This cardigan, this is just a super, super lightweight. Look at how lightweight it is. I mean, you can see right through it. My gosh, crazy. Anyways, this is one, I think I got this, I did at Old Navy. And I love it. It's nice, it's lightweight, it fits nice, it's black, it goes with everything. So I use this as my pattern. So my gauge to garment process. In the past, what I've done is I've taken my own measurements, I've done my gauge, I've done my math to figure out my measurements, and I've cast on and knit. This one, still doing the gauge to garment process, but doing just a little shift on it. Instead of just going strictly by my measurements, I'm measuring a sweater. So you can pull out a cardigan, a pullover, whatever you have in your closet, something that you love to wear, something that you love the length of, you like the fit of it, and you measure it. And there again, you use those measurements of the finished sweater and your gauge, do the bit of math, and then I'm basically going to try to replicate this. Now, it's not going to look exactly the same because obviously this is, you know, this would be like a fingering weight yarn, I would imagine, knit up. And this guy is a super bulky. So I'm not going to get the same drape, but we'll see. We'll see what it's like. So I've measured, I'll show you my little, pull out my trusty notebook again. Don't laugh at my picture. Drawing is not my, I have no art skills at all. My shoulders here are a little slanted and lopsided, but anyways, I just kind of drew a quick schematic with raglan shaping, and I measured the sweater. So I've got the total length right from the top of the neck and down to where it would be cast on, waist to the armhole, armhole to the shoulder, the depth that I want my ribbing to be. I've got a chest measurement. I've got figured out the edging, the front bands, what that's going to be. The only one, you know what, I haven't done sleeves yet because I'm not there yet. So this is going to be knit in one piece. I've cast on the full number of stitches I need for the front, the back, and the other front. And I'm going to work in 2x2 ribbing for a couple of inches. Then I'm going to switch and I'm just going to work in stockinette stitch, but I'm going to knit the front bands on at the same time. So I'll put some markers in. I'll figure out what about 2 inches is, or give or take what I think I like the look of. And I'll put a marker on either end so that I know I'm going to work some ribbing. I think I'm working ribbing. Yes, I'm just going to keep the ribbing going right up. See, I haven't even thought that far ahead. So I will do some ribbing and I'll have a marker, and then I'll switch to stockinette till I get around to the other ribbing and do the other marker, and then do the ribbing for the front bands. And so that means I'm going to have to stockinette in the flat. So that means I'm going to have to be knitting around a row and then purling. So knit and purl up to get where the armhole is going to be. And then I will divide, and then I will just work on the back, and I will do some raglan shaping. So that'll be a little bit more math, but I have my measurements. I know what I want my shoulder width to be and what the lower body is, and I will just divide that out, find that number, and figure out my row gauge. I know it sounds like a lot of numbers, but it's not that hard. And math is not anything that I am strong in. So if I can figure it out, anybody can. And I know I've had some people ask me that, is this going to become a pattern or a knit along? And yes, it will be eventually. I'm going to do a few more different patterns this style. So this one, I've done the drop shoulder. This one, I'm going to do the raglan and a cardigan. So I'm just going to knit through it a few more times. This is a process I've been doing for over 10 years. But I just want to make sure that I really have it perfected before I go giving it out to you guys, because I know what I'm doing, but sometimes I just want to make sure that I am writing it out all clearly. So, you know, I don't want you to have to read in between the lines or read my mind of what I'm thinking about. But it'll be something, and I don't know if it'll be this winter, maybe after Christmas, like in January. Maybe we will play around with that if that's something that people are interested in. So I'm really excited for this sweater. I'm really excited. Because I know the other sweater didn't take me that long to knit, and I'm hoping this one won't. It's going to be a little more fussy because of the decreasing, but it's not going to have the neck shaping. So, you know, maybe one thing it's a give and take, right? One area is a little fussier, others are a little simpler, and maybe it'll all work out in the wash. So I'm hoping that, I don't know, I don't want to jinx myself and say I'll have this done by Monday, because I'm still on vacation and I'm torn. On one hand, I think I'm just going to sit and knit, but the weather is so fantastic that I want to get out and do a bit of walking and, you know, put around in my garden. So we'll see how much knitting I have. So I guess on Monday, we'll see. I would be like super excited if I could be wearing this cardigan, this big ball, turn it into a sweater by Monday. It's Wednesday afternoon. I don't know. That'll be pushing it. It's probably not. It's probably hopeful thinking. But you know what? Even if I have the body done and the raglan shaping all done to show you, I would be totally happy with that. And then the following week when I'm back at work and work on the sleeves, so when 2 Mondays have a cardigan done, 2 weeks for a cardigan, I'm still be really happy with that. This colorway, I don't think I told you the colorway. This was, oh, what is this? Spiced? Wait a second. That's why I'm looking at this. I was thinking this is the citron color, but you know what? The citron color was the one with the yellow and the orange and the green. It was much brighter. This is spiced soiree. That's what, you know, when I'm looking for this, trying to find where the citrine word is, and I'm like, I'm not reading it, and that's because that's the wrong ball. I did not get that. The other one I have is the peach party one, and I haven't totally decided what I'm going to do with that. If I will do a sweater with it, I'm almost kind of leaning towards a small blanket. So we'll see. I'm going to put a little thought into that one yet. But anyways, I am cast on. I've got a lot of the work done. I've got my math figured out. So hopefully tonight it will just be, I just dropped it, be kind of clear sailing until I divide. I do have to purl, so we'll see if that slows me down at all. Typically it is, I find I'm faster if I'm just knitting around and around and around, but anyways, we'll see how far I get. So I hope you guys have big plans for this week. Whatever you're doing, I hope that you find something that, you know, brings you lots of joy, makes you smile. Hopefully that's knitting, but you know, as long as it's some craft of any kind, that would make me really happy. I'm going to go and work on this. So again, take a look out on Instagram and Facebook, Wildflower Wool's Instagram and Facebook. You'll see hopefully some daily posts on, what do I have? I've got the dishcloth to finish. I have pom-pom to make and a sweater to knit. So we'll see how much I get done. Have a great week, everybody, and I will see you back here on Monday with updates on all these projects and 2 more new starts. And I will also see you a few more times this week because I'm going to do some more yarn sorting, and I'll bring you along for that if you're interested in taking a look into what exactly is in my stash. Happy knitting, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.